Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this day. And we're kind of crossing over each other there. Going to tell you about the rain coming in. There's going to be a decent amount in just a moment. On our show today, Carl Randazzo is here from United. He's going to give us a rundown of their M&C meeting that they had just a couple days ago. And actually, yesterday, come to think of it. And we're going to bring you a tape from Sterling Financial Advisors. Also, the CCA, Community Civic Association, will be having an upcoming meeting at the end of this month. We have a couple guests that will be there. And we're going to bring you a segment. If you got some tax planning help you need, well, guess what? There's a free service that is happening. It is really cool. It's done with the Council on Aging and in conjunction with AARP. So we'll tell you about that. Now, meetings today, the only meeting is United's new resident orientation in the boardroom at 9 o'clock. Now, let's get to the weather. Another big system coming in. And the way it looks right now is we could, very late tonight, start to see a few little sprinkles. By the way, if you're watching us in the morning and there's some sprinkles out there, that's just a heavy marine layer. But tonight, it could start happening maybe 10, 11 o'clock. The biggest part of this storm coming in, this Saturday storm, is more than likely going to be overnight, maybe 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It's when the heaviest cells are due to come in. Then a little bit lighter, moderate rain, probably till about noon or 1 o'clock. And then scattered showers all through Saturday, late afternoon, evening, and possibly into Sunday morning. Okay, that's more of a chance right now. But this one, not as big as the last couple we've had, but should produce maybe about a ½ inch of rain, maybe a little bit more. Looking way ahead to Tuesday, late rain on there, sort of the same scenario we're going to see today, but they're looking at that Wednesday storm coming in, and that one's supposed to be 1 to 2 inches. So, we're still in this, folks. We could get between now and next weekend, we could be looking at another maybe total of 1.5 to 2 inches of rain coming in. So this same system, by the way, is the one that we're getting today, is the one that's been up north playing havoc up in the Napa area, Sonoma area. They got, from what I understand, certain areas, 20 inches of rain in like a couple days up there, which is why there's so much flooding in Napa, Sonoma. Now, for the wineries up there, not that big a deal at this point, because those vines are just beginning to set, beginning to bud, so it probably won't affect the wineries too much at all, but it will certainly affecting a lot of the towns up there. Let's look around the state, and everywhere you go, it's going to be a fairly cool weekend. A little bit of rain, as I said, on Saturday in certain areas. I think the Bay Area, I have rain. And those areas, they'll probably be past it a little bit sooner than we will, because that system is coming down to us. So they got the rain today. It'll spill over for them in a Saturday, where central to Southern California will get it late tonight into Saturday and spilling over into Sunday possibly. Some more snow in the Sierras, even though this is a warmer system for us, meaning there's not going to be that much snow up in the local mountains. There will be a little bit, but not that much. The Tahoe and Mammoth area, much colder, as you can see, that we will be getting, and the Sierras in general, a decent amount of snow here. They've been getting it most of this week. So the snowpack is, I forget where I heard today, but it's way above normal. So we're doing really good. It's like 125%, 130%. So that is really good news. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Managing your own medication can be stressful. For decades, we have watched you stand in line at your local pharmacy and battle with insurance companies, all to be left with the difficult task of organizing, managing, and remembering to take your medication. AmeriPharma offers a new way of simplifying the lives of you and your loved ones. Introducing AmeriPharma MedBox. How does it work? Submit your prescriptions and insurance information online. Get your medications delivered to your door. That's it. Medications won't come in bottles. You'll receive your pre-sorted med box that easily allows you to tear and take the required medication regimen at the plainly printed date and time. Never miss a dose or worry about whether you've taken it.
AmeriPharma MedBox is so simple, and now my mom can manage her medication all on her own, and that gives me peace of mind.
Don't worry about refills or haggling with insurance companies again. Our specialists do that for you. If you've got questions, we're here. An urgent prescription? Get it right away.
In previous years, I didn't require any prescriptions, but now I have to take about 7 or 8 due to various conditions. It's a management problem. My nurse told me about AmeriPharma's MedBox. I switched over. Boy, am I glad I did. It's really easy to use and it's solved all my problems.
Much different than what I had to go through opening bottles before. I'm so thankful. It's changed my life. It could change yours. You should try it.
We care about one thing and one thing only, your improved quality of life. Making medication simple for you and your loved ones is surely a step in the right direction. We have been trusted by patients, nurses, physicians, assisted living facilities, and the government for over 15 years. We are ready to take the next step with you in reinventing your pharmacy experience. Now we have reduced all of your pharmacy service needs to one simple box. AmeriPharma MedBox, the new standard in medication management.
Where can you see the greatest names in golf still making a name for themselves? Orange County's only PGA Tour Champions event returns as the Hogue Classic. Catch the legends of the PGA Tour at Newport Beach Country Club March 6th through the 10th and help Hogue Hospital give back to the health and vitality of our community in Southern California. Also, come visit the Hogue Health Village presented by Blue Shield of California to partake in games, giveaways, and informational health talks. Tickets available now at HogueClassic.com.
And with me today from United is Carl Randazzo, and he is here to talk about their recent, actually, it was yesterday's meeting.
No, it was 27th.
Was it yesterday?
It
the
27th,
excuse me.
Yeah.
The United M&C meeting and all the different things that you went over.
Right.
So welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate coming on here. Actually, this meeting at the M&C meeting was as a result of we have our meeting every other month. We didn't have one in December because in December there weren't enough topics to address.
Okay.
So we deferred that until the next time period, which happens to be February, and we had it on the 26th, actually. And the thing right now is that the 27th. We had this meeting, and it was an extremely good meeting, actually. We had a number of topics that we had to address, which we normally do, and there's usually, as I've mentioned before, there's 5 United directors on the M&C committee, and then 2 advisors. And at this meeting, we added a 3rd advisor. We can have as many advisors as we actually have United board directors. Okay. And in this particular case, now we have 5 United directors and 3 advisors. And I thought it went very well. We usually start off with reporting on the consent calendar, and the consent calendar has a number of reports associated with it. And in this case, there's 4 reports that we approved. 2 of them happen to be the maintenance programs report and the expenditures report. And then we went on to the project log, and the project log usually is part of the consent calendar. And this project log is a log of programs and activities and projects that we're working on within the United community. And Ernesto Muñez, who's our M&C supervisor, right, he usually goes over that with us, certain salient points within the log itself. And this particular time period, a couple of questions were raised about the termite pest control program that was listed on there, and our Shepherd's Crook fencing installation. And with regard to the termite pest control fumigation issues, we have a situation where he needed additional funding, because last year when we approved the budget for 2019, we had not completed the report for how many buildings we would need to fumigate this year. So as a result of that, when they finalized the report, unfortunately for us, we found out instead of only 14 buildings that we originally appropriated money for 2019, we actually had 37 buildings that would need fumigation. So we had to approve additional funding for that particular thing, and we did that yesterday, at that meeting. So, and then we also discussed one of the other points on that program, which was our Shepherd's Crook installation, where every year until 2031, that's the plan right now, because we can't afford to do everything all the time. Okay, we're doing approximately 1,400 feet of fence each year, and last year we completed our 1,400 feet of fence. This year we're going to complete another 1,400 feet of fence. However, they're going out for bid for this particular section of fence, and we asked the question, why aren't we going with a contractor where we can renew their option to basically continue on in that particular vein? And we were told that under the circumstances that was the intent. However, we found that this particular contractor was not performing as well as we'd like to. Okay. So we're looking to find a new contractor for this year that we could possibly put into effect a renewal of an option on an ongoing basis with an approved funding for that particular item. So that would work very well for us, okay? And then we wouldn't have to go through this whole process each year. We just need to review whether or not he's performing well for the previous year, and we'll go on to that and use him for the following year. And then he'll be familiar with the whole process. Right. And it's not reinventing the wheel. And then this time, instead of really having a list of activities where we have staff reports and the staff will put together a compilation of what needs to be done for each particular activity, we chose to discuss a number of topics, 4 to be exact, that we needed to get looked at as a result of questions that have been raised by residents and various other things that have happened recently. And some of those activities, the 4 activities that we discussed, were solar power plant, the solar power plant at the laundry room, and I use the word power plant because that's what it is. It generates power, okay? The only thing is it's solar. It doesn't have generators and turbines in it. The need for pedestals under our washers and dryers in the laundry facilities. Issues regarding painting exterior alterations. With our painting program, every 10 years, we paint certain sections and then we go on to the next section, and then as a result of that, every 10 years, the whole place is basically painted. That's the program that we have in effect. However, in certain cases, when an alteration was done outside, since it now belongs to the resident, that doesn't get painted. So we have some issues with regard to that because people complain that the rest of the building looks good, and this one particular portion, maybe it's a patio awning or what have you, is not being painted. And then we also addressed drainage and gutters in our community as a result of our recent drizzling rain, as you know. Yeah. And that was something that has come up. And these are all topics that have come up by residents and ourselves. Okay, we're looking at things. We're trying to basically...
Has there been problems with some of the gutters? And
there have been, yes. Okay. So I'll go on to some to that. Okay. With regard to the solar power plant, oh, and by the way, because of the fact that these were oral discussions, we could possibly have gone on for hours and hours discussing these particular activities. So as a result of that, I put some guidelines into effect to sort of like guide all of the people so that we don't spend 3 hours on one topic. And I thought it went very well. In fact, we ended the meeting only 5 minutes over. We normally are there till 12 o'clock. We ended at 12:05. Okay. So with regard to solar power plant, in the laundry facilities, we had a contract with a company who will go unnamed right now, but it's a matter of record. And they indicated that the power that we were supposed to receive as a result of their installation was X. And it seems that now we're not getting the X. And as a result of that, we're a little bit upset by it. And then there's a matter of finger pointing, well, you didn't do this, and you didn't do that, you know, and as a result of that, you know, well, we only guaranteed it if you did this. You know, there's a whole thing going on right now. So, plus the fact that we need to possibly manage this solar complex a little bit differently, maybe, okay, to possibly get a little more bang for our buck out of it. So we're looking at the whole complexities of that solar power plant. Even though it's a static type thing, okay, without any rotating machinery associated with it, it's something that we really need to look at. And we're giving it some visibility. So we've set up a ad hoc task force to address this. And it's made up of 5 directors and united members who have volunteered to do this, and we're going to look at contracts and various different things and see how we can make this thing a little bit better for us.
Okay.
Then adding pedestals underneath the washers and dryers. That question got raised by one of the residents at one of our board meetings or one of the M&C meetings, whereby they felt that the dryers are all front loaders and they're a little low to the ground. And some people are tall, and the lowness to the ground causes them a little bit of difficulty, yet there are people that are short, and that lowness to the ground is not an issue for them. And then, so as a result of that, we viewed the pros and cons of each one. Okay, one of the cons is the fact that if you raise them up on pedestals, because they're of the type that the actual controls are in the back of the washer or dryer and not in the front, then there are certain short people that won't be able to access them. So I mean, there's pros and cons to everything. And there's also access to the electricity and to the plumbing and what have you. So as a result of that, we came up and we decided that at this particular point in time, we're not going to do anything with that particular issue.
Okay.
We felt that the cons exceeded the pros, so we've just tabled that item. And then there was the issue, as I said, with the painting and the exterior alterations. As I said, the paint jobs that happen within the community is on a 10-year cycle. When they see that a certain section of the particular building was not painted, people start complaining, well, it looks unsightly.
Yeah.
But it's not our responsibility because it's now been taken on by the resident. So, unfortunately, then it's a matter of, well, you guys should paint it anyway, but it's not only the painting, it's the prior to paint. Possibly there's some damage as a result of wood rot and what have you, then we have to take on that responsibility. So we looked at it and we got told by our M&C head supervisor that we do have methods in place to address that, whereby we notify the resident that if they have an alteration, they need, when we go into that area to paint, they need to address painting for their particular portion. And this is only addresses ourselves to exteriors because of the fact that the exteriors is what everybody sees.
Right.
Okay, it's the curb appeal, if you will, and that's where we get ourselves into trouble. So we have things in place to notify these people that they're supposed to paint their portion of it. Okay, and if they don't do that, then obviously we have to set up some system of making sure that they do it. But in any case, so we're not going to do anything more with that. We felt that there was nothing else to be done with that. And then we talked about one of the last topics, which is a really interesting topic considering the fact, as I said, that we have been getting some torrential rains recently.
Right.
I personally have a gutter in front of my front door. I have a Seville, and during portions of the rainstorms, when you go outside and it's coming down in buckets, the gutter overflows and we have a cascading waterfall effect coming out of that gutter.
Right.
And that's not a good thing, because then you're going to try to go through this waterfall in order to get out to your car. So in any case, plus there is situations whereby not only when it happens on roofs, we have no gutters on many of our roofs, and as a result of that, if it's a 2-story, when it comes down, the splashback can be it comes down from a 2-story, that's 20 feet, just goes down to the ground as a 6-foot possible splashback onto the actual side of the building. And as a result of that, it wets the side of the building such that it could, if there's any sort of pinholes or what have you in the paint, it could start, doing some damage to that particular thing. And then there's the issue of the fact that when it comes down, even if you do have a gutter, the gutters and the downspouts, are so close to the building that in time it could possibly undermine the foundations. That's an issue too. So we have a problem in the, and then get on to the next part. Then it drives itself out into the street, and I don't know if a number of people complaining that there are various streets here that are flooded out and they're going into about 6 inches to 1 foot of water depending on where it is, because the drains can't take it away quick enough. So as a result of that, we have a comprehensive program that we need to sort of look at and put into effect to address all of our problems with regard to drainage. Now, remember, California, it doesn't rain that often, okay? But when it rains, the old song goes, it pours, okay? So we need to do we're putting into effect for next year's budget a comprehensive program that will be long-term. We can't take care of this in 1 year, okay? Because, we have a number of different priority items on our list of things to do, okay, over the years. But we need to put this down as one of the items to address drainage, gutters, and various other things to prevent any undermanning of foundations, to prevent splashback causing damage to the sides of buildings, to prevent waterfalls coming off so that people can't walk through them, and also to prevent a lot of water from getting into the streets where it's flooding the streets. Right. And that whole thing, we had a brainstorming session at that meeting, but brainstorming is not scientific, okay? It just comes up with lots of ideas, okay? When you have a lot of ideas, some of those ideas have some credibility, and some of them are really pie in the sky. So we have to put a thing together, and we're putting a program together to be taken care of over the next number of years. And for 2020, we're going to put money in our budget to address certain parts of this, and we'll do this scientifically. We need to do this year and this next year and what have you. But we're looking at it.
All right.
So that's
all right. Very good. A lot going on.
Yes, there is.
All right. I appreciate you coming on, Carl.
Thank you.
And I know whenever, I know you oversee this committee, so now it meets in another couple months or every month?
It meets in another couple of months. It's every 2 months right now, except for the fact that I told the ad hoc task force that if they needed to report back to us, okay, I would put together a emergency meeting of the actual MNC, okay. To hear what they had to say.
All right. Very good.
It.
Take care, sir.
Take care. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Choice for wood flooring and more is LA Carpet.
Now during their 2-day sale, visit their showroom now and get 65% off wood flooring, laminate, and waterproof flooring.
Plus, get 5 years, 0% financing.
LA Carpet, #1 for you.
Welcome back. Well, today we're going to be talking about taxes. Not always the most fun subject, but in this case, Sue Parks is with us with the United Way, and they are going to be having help for you if that's what you would like. People that can help you do your taxes at no cost, and it's done in conjunction with the United Way and also AARP, and it's a really great service, so welcome.
Thanks, Ken. Glad to be here.
So tell me about when you're going to be doing this and how long the program goes on.
Okay, well, OC Free Tax Prep runs through April 15th.
Okay.
And here at Laguna Woods, we're actually supporting with volunteers who are every Wednesday at Clubhouse 5 in the dining room from 9 to 3.
Okay.
So, and that will go through March in terms of having people on site. But there are sites throughout the county as well.
Now, as far as people doing this, how do they, I guess they're going to ask, do I need an appointment? Do I just show up? How does that work?
They can certainly just show up in terms of what's going on, but there's a great site to find out all their questions and their answers. And I'm not sure if it's on the screen behind me.
OCFreeTaxPrep.com.
OCFreeTaxPrep.com, exactly. Yeah. And that'll answer any questions, but it'll also show maybe Wednesdays aren't a good day, but they want to get this done and they want the help. It'll show them other sites throughout the county as well.
Okay, now what about, I think people who maybe want to do this, they're going to ask, well, who are these people that are helping out? Are they accountants? Are they trained? Obviously you want to know that because they're the ones that are guiding you through this process, right?
Absolutely. So every year, Orange County United Way trains with the IRS over 500 volunteers. So these are volunteers who have been trained, and so they've gone through a really very strict training program, but they really are here to help people who need help with their taxes. And we say that low and moderate income people here in Orange County. And it's such a great service because it takes away the tax preparation fee, but also it links people who earn under $55,000 a year may not know that there are earned income tax credit programs out there, and they may be able to get up to $6,000 back. And again, they can go on OCFreeTaxPrep.com to learn more, but those volunteers are trained to help people. Just last year alone, we brought back $4.6 million to people in Orange County who qualified. So these are working people who have a W-2 or self-employed, but earn under $55,000. So that's another amazing reason for your members here might qualify for that, to take a look at it.
Now that's $55,000 per individual, am I right? Or is it by couple, or that's
that would be household.
Oh, household.
Household income. Yes.
Okay. Now, when they decide to do this, they're going to, what should they bring? Just the kind of things you'd normally bring, your W-2, if you give into any charities and have deductions and things like that.
Yeah, but just think of it as going to an accountant, and for people who haven't done that before, again, I keep referring back to the website, but the website will tell them exactly what to bring. But definitely bring all of their identification, any receipts that they have questions on, certainly their W-2s, or on documentation if they're self-employed. Okay,
now as far as, again, since it's a limited time here, it's only Wednesdays, am I right? If people want to set up a time, can they, or is it strictly first come?
Again, in terms of checking out, I believe that it would be available for them to go on OCFreeTaxPrep.com to see if there's specific appointments scheduled on Wednesday. Other than that, they could come, they could see the flow of folks, and I don't think they would have a long wait.
Okay, and usually I would think that a lot of the people who are in this bracket, it doesn't take too long to do their taxes.
Right. I think it's just the help. The help. And again, I can't emphasize enough that there are people who are missing out on that earned income tax credit program. And I think that last year, or a couple of years ago, the government here thought, when they looked at all the records of who would have qualified, 1.1 million people missed out on that earned income tax credit. There was something like $1.9 billion left on the table. So I strongly encourage anybody who maybe think, oh, my brother-in-law helps me with my taxes, or somebody else helps me with my taxes, may not know about that earned income tax credit, and what a wonderful way to find out.
And is that tax credit like just deducted from the from your income? Is that how that works?
Well, I know that they get a check back. So last year we brought back the Orange County United Way, and working with all of our partners, we brought back over, I think, $4.6 million to people here. We helped,
and we want to help more. On that.
Yeah, we want to help more.
So again, the website, OCFreeTaxPrep.com. Obviously, what Sue is saying here, she encourages you to look at that first, because that's going to give you all the information that you need, what you need to bring with you, because there might be things that you don't know about. I'm looking at the list here. Obviously, people know W-2s, but like a 1098 and T forms for educational expenses. a lot of people wouldn't have thought to bring that.
Right.
So that's really helpful.
Yeah, set yourself up so you can win and you can maximize the process there, right?
Okay.
And again, so I know that we're here at Laguna Woods, and just so you know, they did a survey, the government does a survey, and there's a lot of people in zip code 92637, which I believe is the Laguna Woods zip code, that would qualify for that earned income tax credit, meaning they're working, they get a W-2, or they're self-employed. And we want to make sure everyone here gets the maximum benefit that they can.
Okay, and that's a good point that you just brought up. People here that are still working.
Correct.
That are still, People that are just retired on Social Security or a pension or something like that, that's different.
If they still want to help with their taxes,
right.
please come. But for the earned income tax credit, it's based on your earnings. So again, two different ways to think about it. For people who come and would qualify for getting their free taxes, it would be $60,000 or under in terms of their income. And for somebody eligible for the earned income tax credit, it'd be under $55,000.
Okay, very good. And again, that website is ocfreetaxprep.com. I encourage you to go there because you can get all your information. It starts is it this Wednesday?
Yeah, it runs now through the end of March here.
Okay.
And you know, we at Orange County United Way are just happy to help. One of our major goals is helping people achieve financial stability. And this is a really important program that, we're excited to have the opportunity to share.
All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Great to have you on. And again, once again, ocfreetaxprep.com, and go on there first, get your information, make sure you bring all your stuff with you. That's the important thing.
Great.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you,
Good
Ken.
to see you. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm John Bowser Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha-Na-Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village television. Grease for peace.
And welcome back with me today are a couple guests that are going to be at the CCA event that is happening on March 28th, and the title of that is Diabetes and Hypnotherapy. I'd like to welcome Karen Pollock. Welcome. Nice to have you here today. And also Jonathan Fisher, and you are a hypnotherapist. So welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Great to have you here today.
Great to be here.
So let's talk about talk with you first. That what do you hope to bring to this talk that's coming up? Because as we've been talking off camera, a lot of people are very skeptical of this. Diabetes is a physical problem that once people have it, you can manage it, but you don't ever get rid of it. So what role do you play in this?
Well, as a hypnotherapist, I help people to really focus on the goals that a lot of their doctors are saying that they should have, as far as losing weight, being on a certain type of diet, getting exercise, having less stress, getting better sleep. And so what I'm doing with my clients, their patients with referrals, is really helping them keep on track with those things. Because there are reasons why they're not maybe motivated enough to get the exercise or to have enough knowledge to eat the right foods or to have the less stress or get better sleep. And all these things compound themselves and make a person less likely to do those things that the doctor's recommending.
Okay. Now, Karen, what's your role in this?
I'm one of the co-founders of the CCA.
Okay.
And I met Jonathan networking. I go to Bagels, Business and Bagels.
Okay.
And when he did his infomercial and said that he was a hypnotherapist, I jumped at the chance to talk to him because I've done hypnotherapy before and I have had success with it. I think it's wonderful. So I thought it would be great to have him speak to our group.
Okay, now as far as someone who does have diabetes, of course, you know, one of the first things they're going to do is usually meet most of the time with a nutritionist, a dietitian, something like that, to kind of figure out, everyone's different. It could be because their stages of diabetes might be different. What's going to work right for them, of course.
Right.
And you know, they get that advice, they get maybe meal plans or whatever it might be. And you know, what you're saying is the hard part is, of course, sticking to that, which is true.
Yeah, it's a mindset thing. In my first session with anybody, I always talk about what hypnosis is and what it isn't. We talk about basically get them on the same page as I am, somebody who knows about hypnosis and the unconscious mind, and away from the idea of stage hypnosis and all that, the stuff like, oh, it's weird things, it gets people to do things that they don't want to do, and it's not like that, actually. It's if I can talk about it for a second.
Sure, yeah, hypnosis. Because I was going to ask you what your background is. How did
right, so yeah, certified hypnotherapist. And I've actually been going by hypno coach lately because I'm not a therapist. We're not working on mental health issues per se. I mean, I sometimes with a referral. Right. But it's coaching, but I'm using hypnosis along with that. So hypnosis, you know, what is it? It's focused concentration. It's a real thing that's happening in the brain. There's a billion double-blind studies that are showing it's effective. And what it's really doing is harnessing this thing that's happening, this natural state that's happening all the time. Happening when we're maybe missing an exit on the freeway, when we're absorbed in a book, just before we're falling asleep at night. So it's this real state where we're just kind of between waking and sleep. Sometimes we'll say things like deep sleep or sleep, and it's not sleep. The person's totally aware. I can't make them do something that's against their morals or personality or ethics, so I can't do the bark like a dog. Yeah. Which why would I give my client a suggestion like that? Because unless they're coming in like they're an actor want to bark like a dog, but there's no reason to do it, and they wouldn't because they can't be made to do something they don't want to do. But really what it's doing is hypnosis bypasses the critical mind. It's the part that, it's our version of being logical and rational, and it's the part that stops us from making those changes like eating healthier, losing weight, getting better sleep, having less stress. If we're talking type 2 diabetes, it's usually an older person. And then it's all the things like maybe it's chronic pain that they're dealing with. So then maybe they don't want to exercise. So then we're working on the chronic pain so that they can exercise. All these things get handled. It's not just a few things. And it's now they have friends who can't walk with so-and-so, or maybe people are dying and then they have depression and sadness. We're working through all these things to help them with the diabetes, and something like type 2 could possibly reverse itself if you get a handle on your diet, you handle on your weight. That you know, it's not like type 1.
Hypnotherapy, is this sort of an offshoot from psychology, or like when you started this, when you went to school for this, did you start as a psychology major or something? I'm totally unaware.
Actually, yeah, I wouldn't have had to, but I actually was a psychology major. So I actually saw my first stage hypnosis show my last year of high school, and then like 2 years later, I saw my professor, who was a clinical psychologist and saw clients in college in a psychology class, hypnotize a student. So I got to see the therapeutic side of hypnosis at a young age and got to see, oh, this is something that's valid. It is used therapeutically. So that is my background as far as education, but really I went to a nationally accredited hypnosis school for what I'm doing.
All right. Yeah. Now, Karen, how did this help you out? And was this Jonathan that helped you out, or someone else?
No, actually, I did hypnotherapy about 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to lose weight, and I was networking with another hypnotherapist, and everybody was going to him, and the goal was to lose 8 pounds in 1 month, 2 pounds a week through hypnotherapy. And what he did was he trained my brain to what happened was when my plate was half full, I would be full and I wouldn't eat anymore. And that's how I lost 2 pounds a week. It worked, and it was effortless. It was so easy to lose that weight.
So what happened to all that extra food?
Pardon me?
Wow, so what happened to all the extra food? I
saved it for the next day.
So when somebody coming up to this seminar or talk, whatever you want to call it, coming up on March 28th, what is some of the stuff that you are going to pinpoint and talk about? Because you know, you might have several hundred people there, whatever it might be. So you're talking to all of them. Are you just going to be there basically telling them how this can possibly benefit them?
I mean, it just so happens that although it is about diabetes, the things that are involved in diabetes happen to be the things that people come to me for, like losing weight and sleeping better and exercising. So the overlap is almost complete. I talk a lot about how the mind works, how we accept suggestion, how we learn things, whether it's beliefs and behaviors. we talk about hypnotic suggestibility, which is how we learn anything, and I explain what that is and why suggestibility, specifically hypnotic suggestibility, isn't a weak-minded thing. So I find that the people that are the easiest to hypnotize, or who hypnotize or go in deeper, as we say, are more intelligent generally, have a better imagination, and can focus better. So if someone wants to consider that weak-minded, but everyone can be hypnotized, and it's we often say that hypnosis is a do to, or a do with, not a do to. Sorry, do with, not a do to technique, in that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis.
Okay.
If you don't want to be hypnotized, you won't be. So when I'm talking and explaining all these things, I will, if they want, do a hypnosis demonstration with one person, and then anyone that's watching can also participate.
Okay.
Or not. You could just choose to keep your eyes open, not do what I'm saying, and you watch the show. And what it is a demonstration, so it's not like your typical hypnosis show, in that obviously we're not getting someone to do ridiculous things. It's general suggestions of sleeping better and relaxation, because we're not doing therapy in front of a group. We're just showing that this is a simple, powerful thing that everybody has, meaning their unconscious mind. It's 90%, and it's driving the show. So
okay, all right. Yeah. So again, this is happening on March 28th at Clubhouse 5, and Dr. Sadehi, who will be there, she couldn't be here today, but she will be there as well. She's internal medicine. In fact, I know she's been on our show a few times because I recognize her name. So yeah, she'll be there as well. All right, so again, March 28th. And if you want more information, you can go on our club pages to the CCA and find out that. RSVP, please, at 949-426-1598. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you. Nice
Karen,
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, folks. This is your retirement professor, Dan Oweiler, with this segment of Safe Money Retirement. Glad to have you join us today. I know in the past we've talked about a lot of different things regarding investment and risks and things like that. I want to talk to you today about the 4 asset buckets that we have in our overall estate. These are assets that fall into one of these 4 buckets, and each of these buckets will be passed on to our heirs in a different way depending upon how they're set up. So let's get started and we'll talk about that. The first bucket is what I call our taxable income bucket, and it's also estate taxable, meaning that if our estate is large enough, there will be some estate taxes. Now, some of the things that are commonly in this are our investments, things like our stocks, our bonds, CDs or things along that line, real estate. All of these things generate taxable income to us. And so that can be taxable to us on our tax returns. Our estate tax, if our estate is large enough, these will be taxed and be taxed with a minimum of 40% on our estate taxes. So our first bucket number 1, is taxable on our income and taxable on our estate. The second bucket is what I call our tax deferred income, but also they could be estate taxable, again, depending upon the size of our estate. Okay? Now, tax in this bucket number 2 would be things like our IRAs, because our IRAs are tax deferred, 401k plans, deferred annuities. All of these things generate tax-deferred interest to us. We don't have to claim them on our tax return every year until we take that interest out or we have a required minimum distributions. Okay? It's tax-deferred income, but it's still included in our estate to determine whether or not we're going to be paying any estate taxes on that. The third bucket is what we call our tax-free income, but could still be included in our estate for estate tax purposes. Okay? Now, what can those things? Well, the most common thing that we think of are muni bonds. Okay? Muni bonds provide us muni bonds. Those provide us tax-free income, but they are included in our estate for tax estate purposes. The second one would be a Roth IRA. Again, Roth IRAs provide us tax-free income, and they're included in our estate if we pass those on to our heirs and don't set them up properly. And the third thing would be life insurance. If we own life insurance and we're the owner of that contract, and that life insurance proceeds are passed on to our estate, either in our family trust or whatever it might be, that life insurance can also provide tax-free income to us, but those assets will be included in our taxable estate to determine whether or not we have any estate taxes. And then the final bucket is what I call the tax-free income. And the estate tax-free distribution. Now, what could give us tax-free income as well as providing a cushion or an exemption for our estate tax purposes? Well, things like charitable trusts or irrevocable trusts that are actually taken out of our estate. Okay, those are trusts that we set up to take those assets out of our estate, maybe provide us tax-free income because we're giving them to charity or whatever it might be. And the other thing can also be life insurance. If we set up the life insurance in an irrevocable life insurance trust, that will take those assets out of our estate, and it will be tax-free because we're actually limiting the amount that we're going to be included in our estate. So this year we have an estate tax exemption of about $5.34 million. That means that if your estate is over $5.3 million, you're going to have some estate taxes that are passed on to the heirs. If you're married, that would double because you have two spouses that could be passing on $5.3 million, so it could be $10 million plus that can be passed on to your heirs. So perhaps depending upon how much assets you have, maybe none of these taxable estates will come into play. As I plan with people, what I have found is the more assets and the larger our estate is, the more we want to move to the right. We want to move our assets to the right, the more assets that we have. If we have a large amount of money and we can move from taxable income to tax-deferred income, then that's just going to help us on our income taxes. If we have even more and we can move into tax-free income through muni bonds, Roth IRAs, or life insurance, that's even better because it's tax-free income and not tax-deferred. And finally, obviously, if we can take a portion of our assets, if we have enough assets to live on, we don't need an excess portion, we can move those into a irrevocable life insurance trust or whatever it might be, a charitable trust that provides tax-free income as well as estate tax-free. Then we've been able to do some proper estate planning and tax planning for our needs. And so the more money that we have, the more we want to move into buckets number 2, 3, and 4, okay? Because we want to be able to take advantage of the state and tax laws that are available to us. Hopefully this has kind of pointed out some things to us. If we have a lot of money here in bucket number 1, the least we want to do is maybe move some of our assets into bucket number 2 so our taxable income will go down in value, or will go down and we won't be paying as much in taxes. But that's in the planning process. If you'd like to sit down and talk about your own situation, we're happy to sit down on a complimentary basis. Give us a call. Our number is there on the screen. We'd be happy to sit down and do some planning with you. Hope you have a good day and happy retirement.
When you have confidence in your retirement future, you can live the life you've always imagined. Because of planning, you now have time to reflect on the wonderful memories of your life. You and your spouse finally have the luxury of leisure time together. To spend fun times with your grandkids, sharing the joy of their excitement about life. Smiling at the thought of quality time with your children and of picking up the check. At last, you have time to breathe and rekindle the love of your life. Why? Because you imagined what could be. You planned for retirement. So today, you own your future.
And our movie coming up today is At Eternity's Gate. This stars Willem Dafoe. He was up for Best Actor for this role, and this is about the life of painter Vincent van Gogh. Primarily, it is about his internal struggles, and he was often ridiculed for basically being so eccentric, but really what it was, he had a lot of mental illness going on. And he actually wound up in an asylum for a while. So this goes through all this. A fascinating movie. It came out early last year, and we bring it to you. As I said, he was up for Best Actor for this role. And it's done in kind of a strange style. In many ways, it is done in the way like the camera is almost like his external or internal demons following him around, and he can't get away from it. In fact, there's a scene in here in the movie where he sort of talks about that. That will be today at 2 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. Now, our movie on Monday is from 2015, Women in Gold, and it stars Helen Mirren and Ryan Reynolds. And this is a true story about a woman's journey to reclaim her heritage and seek justice for what happened to her family 60 years prior, when they had to flee Vienna during World War II, and she attempts to get back a famous painting that was stolen from her family during that time. Again, this is based on a true story. Great movie, very well acted. And this will be Monday, 2 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. Now, coming up tonight and also Saturday and Sunday, wonderful presentation called Baby Boomer Blues. This is being brought to you by the Theater Guild, and this was written by Phil Duran and Barbara Powell, who are both the producers and part of this story that was, again, written right here. It is tonight at 7 o'clock and tomorrow at 7 o'clock, and then Sunday is a matinee at 2 o'clock. Tickets are available, $16 and $13 over at the Performing Arts Center. Great cast in this, so this looks like a really fun production. So we'll go over there and check that out. Coming up on Monday, and this is something you need to RSVP on, so I want to tell you about this now. The Disaster Preparedness Task Force is putting on a diabetes and stroke class, And this will be on Monday, Clubhouse 7 at 1 o'clock. They're going to be talking about all kinds of related topics that go with this, what's going on inside the patient, what to expect when faced with diabetes, and so on. You need to RSVP by calling 268-2356 or email disasterpreparedness@vmsinc.org, and that way you can get your spot there. That's going to be a great event. And also coming up next week, from the Wings chapter, one of the guilds of the Segerstrom Center for the Arts is having a fundraiser, and they're doing this along with South Bay Jewelry. It's called the Legacy Roadshow, and this is kind of fun because you can, it's like the Antiques Roadshow. You can bring your mementos, your collections, your jewelry, whatever you have, and you can get those evaluated, see what they're worth. Stop by between 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock at Clubhouse 7, and also you can find out more about the From the Wings chapter, one of the guilds of Segerstrom that raise money to help schools, and they provide money so kids from schools can get the bus service they go to see productions at the Segerstrom Center. It's a great thing, and what's really neat is you can benefit by maybe you have some stuff you want to find out what it's worth. They can help you out. Now, what it's worth with the weather is that more rain coming in, due in very late tonight. The biggest part of this rain probably will happen overnight, meaning 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, raining throughout Saturday though, so keep that in mind. All right, we will see you on Monday. You take care.
Thank you.